The Beaches podcast is going to give you everything you want to know about a beach before you go there. I hope you enjoy the show. Be sure to check out our website, www.sandee.com. Without further ado, let's get into the show.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive. Today, we're taking on a listener request. And honestly, when I saw this one come in, I knew we had to tackle it. We're talking Florida, but with a twist.
Yeah, this one's interesting. Definitely unique in the range of things the listener wants to know about.
Yeah, so full disclosure, this deep dive is about more than just planning your average trip to Disney World, though. Don't worry, we'll touch on that too. Our listener is curious about, let's say, experiencing the full spectrum of what Florida's coastline offers, from the theme parks to the wildlife even, and this is where it gets interesting, to those clothing optional beaches.
Right, and that's what makes Florida so fascinating.
Yeah.
It's that juxtaposition. I mean, you've got the whole Disney World experience, right? Which, by the way, that itself is huge. Its own city, bigger than San Francisco even. And then on the other hand, you've got these incredible natural environments like the Everglades. Think biodiversity. You've got natural springs. And yeah, even those legally recognized clothing optional beaches.
It's wild, right? I mean, who would have thought you could go from Space Mountain straight to, let's call it a natural beach experience all in one trip?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So since we're already on the topic, and I know some listeners might be surprised to hear this, it's actually illegal to have nude beaches in Florida.
It is. Parts of it, at least. It's definitely not the norm across the states.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that even in Florida, it's not a free-for-all, right? There are very specific designated areas where it's permitted. And even then, you absolutely have to be mindful of local customs, regulations, the whole nine yards.
Makes sense. Being respectful and informed is key no matter where you are or what you're doing, but especially in a situation like that, I'd imagine.
Absolutely, yeah. It's all about responsible enjoyment and knowing the rules of the game before you play.
100%. So we've got our Disney adventures, airboat rides through the Everglades, maybe even catching a glimpse of a rocket launch. But let's be real, no trip to Florida is complete without hitting those beaches. What's the prime time to soak up the sun? When should someone plan their trip?
Okay, so Florida, the Sunshine State, and for good reason. You're good to go pretty much year-round. It's warm, it's sunny, perfect beach weather. But, and this is a big but, you've got to keep hurricane season in mind, right? That usually runs from June to November. Now, if you're looking for a sweet spot, maybe fewer crowds and all that, spring and fall, beautiful time to be there. It can get pretty hot, though, I'm not going to lie. Winter, honestly, can be lovely, too. Might be a little chilly for swimming, depending on your tolerance, but hey, still a great time to be in Florida.
So many options. Who knew? This is why we do these deep dives, right?
Wow.
Always something new to learn. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. We've talked theme park thrills, getting up close and personal with some incredible wildlife. And yeah, even touched on that clothing optional side of Florida. Sounds like no matter what you're into, Florida's got something up its sleeve.
Exactly, and I think that's what makes it such a popular destination. But with so much variety, you really have to hone in on what kind of experience you're after. Are we talking that classic family vacation, everyone's happy, lots of memories, or maybe a secluded nature retreat? Or who knows, maybe you want a bit of both, throw in a dash of something different just to spice things up.
The beauty of Florida is that you really can tailor the experience, whatever your flavor might be. And hey, maybe after this deep dive, some of you are thinking, you know what, Florida might be calling my name. And for those of you already familiar with Florida, hopefully this sparks some new ideas, some new things to explore.
Exactly. Like you've already got the Magic Kingdom, but there's a whole other kind of magic waiting to be discovered on those beaches. Just remember what we talked about. Be respectful, be informed, and most importantly, have fun.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, on that note, we're going to wrap things up here.
Thanks for listening to the show, and be sure to tune in next week for your favorite episode about some of the best beaches and beach information in the world.